I raised my fiancée's son for 2 years until one text from her ex revealed the truth and destroyed everything Reddit stories. Her phone lit up with a message that made my heart stop, and her panic told me the rest. The lies, the deleted threads, the excuses, and the test result that shattered the life I thought I had. Hi, I'm Ryan, 30, and 3 months ago I thought I had a solid life, steady income, good home, a fiancé I trusted, and a little boy I believed was mine. Then one text message blew my entire world apart. It started on a normal Tuesday night. Aiden, our 2.5-year-old, was on the living room floor stacking blocks into what looked like a structurally questionable skyscraper. Megan, my fiancée, was showering after dinner. I was loading the dishwasher, tired but content, thinking about nothing deeper than whether we had enough milk for the morning. Then her phone lit up on the kitchen counter. A name popped up that I hadn't seen in 4.5 years. Josh. Her ex. The preview showed one sentence that hollowed out my chest. "He's got your eyes." I froze. Not suspicious. Not paranoid. Terrified. Because attached to that message was a photo of Aiden, my son, from the petting zoo trip we took last weekend. The exact photo I took. The one I watched Megan send to her mom's group chat. Except this copy was in a completely different thread. A hidden one. I opened the conversation. Everything above that message was gone. Deleted. Wiped clean. Just one picture of Aiden. One reply from Josh. And a blank screen where a history very clearly used to be. My ears rang. My hands went cold. If a lifetime of trust issues could condense into one moment, that was it. For 4 years, I had never touched Megan's phone. I never felt the need to. But this felt like someone had dropped a live wire into our living room. Megan came out of the bathroom 15 minutes later, towel in her hair, wearing sweats, humming as she checked whether Aiden was ready for bed. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. I picked up her phone, held it out, and watched her face morph in real time: confusion, recognition, panic. And in that exact moment, before she even opened her mouth, I knew the truth. Whatever story she was about to tell me would be a lie. The second Megan saw the screen, her whole body stiffened. "Oh my God!" she snapped, grabbing the phone. "Why are you going through my messages? Not what do you mean? Not that's not what it looks like. Not I can explain." Her first instinct was to flip it on me. "Why are you sending pictures of Aiden to Josh?" I asked calmly, calmer than I felt. She scoffed. "It's not a big deal. We were just catching up. He asked how I was doing. He wanted to see a picture. That's it. And why is the entire chat history deleted?" She blinked, one of those long, stalled blinks people do when they're scrambling to come up with a story. "It's the app," she said. "Sometimes messages disappear. Megan." She crossed her arms. "I didn't delete anything. Megan." Her shoulders dropped. "Fine. I deleted some of it. Because I knew you'd overreact exactly like this." There it was, the justification. Lie, deny, minimize, blame me for reacting. Classic. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I just asked one question. Why were you talking to him at all? She hesitated again, and that told me everything I needed to know. I didn't think it mattered, she whispered. It was harmless. Harmless. Sending pictures of our child, the one I'd raised since day one, to her ex. At that moment, Aiden wandered in holding a stuffed giraffe, oblivious to the minefield he was standing in. Megan scooped him up fast, retreating into his bedroom before he could sense the tension. I went to the garage. I sat on my workbench with the smell of oil and sawdust filling the air, feeling the weight of a truth I didn't want to say out loud yet. Was Aiden even mine? The timeline spun in my head. Her weird defensiveness. Josh's sudden reappearance. Her deleted messages. That line, "He's got your eyes." I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. Or the one after that. By Thursday, I had researched every type of paternity test on the market. By Friday, I knew exactly what I needed to do. Thursday night, after 3 days of talking to Megan like we were coworkers sharing a cubicle instead of an engaged couple raising a child, I finally laid it out. No anger. No yelling. Just the truth I'd been circling since the second Josh's name lit up her phone. When exactly did you and Josh break up? She frowned, like the question came out of nowhere. 8 months before we met. I've told you that. Why does it matter? Because I'm trying to understand, I said slowly. Why your ex, someone you supposedly left cleanly and permanently, is suddenly getting pictures of our son. She went quiet. And then she said it? The line every guilty person reaches for when they run out of excuses. Are you seriously questioning whether Aiden is yours? Her voice cracked like I had wounded her. I didn't blink. I'm asking for a paternity test. The room froze. Megan stared at me like I'd just confessed to murder. Then the tears came, on cue, like she'd rehearsed them. You can't be serious. Oh my God, Ryan, do you even hear yourself? After everything we've built? After everything I've done? You think I would lie about something like that? You already lied, I said. About the messages. About deleting them. The test settles everything. If he's mine, great, we move forward. If he's not, then I need to know. No. Absolutely not. I'm not doing a test. Her voice hardened. If you loved me, you wouldn't even ask. If you loved me, I said, you wouldn't be afraid of the results. And that broke something in her. She dropped the tears. Dropped the trembling voice. Dropped the victim act entirely. Her face sharpened into something cold. I don't have to prove anything to you, she snapped. Be grateful I even dated you. The kind of sentence you never forget. The kind that shows you exactly what someone has been thinking all along. I felt the anger hit then, low, steady, clarifying. No test, I said. No wedding. Her mouth fell open. You're throwing away your family over one deleted message? No, I said. You threw it away when you lied, then refused the one thing that would clear the air. She stormed off, slammed the bedroom door hard enough to rattle the frames. My phone buzzed 10 minutes later. Mom. Then Cody. Then Mom again. Megan was already spinning her version of the story, and my own family, without hearing a single detail, was calling me paranoid, controlling, and just like my father. By the time I hung up, I realized something. I wasn't just fighting for the truth anymore. I was fighting everyone who would rather believe a comfortable lie than admit I might be right. And the only thing left to do now was get that test. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of Aiden laughing in the living room, that belly-deep toddler laugh that used to be the best part of my day. But now it hit different. Because for the first time since he was born, a question lived in the back of my throat like a splinter. What if he isn't mine? Megan acted like nothing was wrong, making breakfast, talking about her work schedule, all normal routine. Except she wouldn't look me in the eye. By Tuesday night, the air in our home felt thick enough to choke on. I sat across from her at the kitchen table after we put Aiden to bed. We're doing a paternity test, I said. I'm not asking anymore. She froze mid-sip of water. Then, without theatrics, without tears, without excuses, she finally said, Fine. But the look on her face wasn't relief. It was resignation. Like someone who already knew how the story ended. And you're going to tell my family the truth when this comes back, I said. No more calling me paranoid. No more running to my mom crying. You fixed the damage you caused. Whatever you want, she mumbled. I ordered the kit immediately. When it arrived Thursday evening, Megan hovered while I opened it. 2 sterile swabs, 2 tubes, 2 labels. Aiden thought the process was hilarious. Said, My turn! Like it was a game. If only he knew. I swabbed his cheek, labeled the tube, sealed it. Megan watched silently, arms crossed tight over her chest. When I swabbed my own cheek, Her eyes flicked away. Not guilty, scared. When the samples were sealed and ready to mail, we stood in the kitchen under that yellow overhead light, both of us exhausted beyond speaking. You understand, I said softly, that whatever the results are, we deal with the truth. No more pretending. She swallowed hard. I hope you understand what happens if you're wrong, she whispered. I understand exactly what happens if I'm right, I said. And that ended the conversation. We mailed the package the next morning. 3 to 5 business days, the instructions had said. Longest 5 days of my life. Sunday, Megan was quiet. Monday, my mom called again, fully convinced I was turning into my father, the man who actually abandoned us, because Megan had painted me as the bad guy. Tuesday, Cody sent me a text dripping with smugness. So much for being the good one. By Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m., my phone buzzed with an email notification. Paternity test results available. I walked out to my truck, sat in the driver's seat, and opened the link. The results loaded. One line was all it took. Probability of paternity 0%. The world went silent. Then everything in my life, every sacrifice, every moment, every memory, snapped clean in half. Aiden wasn't mine. And Megan had known. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember parking. I just remember standing in the doorway of my own house feeling like someone had scooped out everything inside me. Megan was at the stove making pasta. Aiden was in his high chair babbling to a cracker. It all looked painfully normal, like nothing had changed. Except everything had. Megan saw my face and went rigid. You got them? She whispered. I handed her my phone. She stared at the screen. 1 second. 2. 3. And her knees actually buckled. Not from shock. From recognition. Because the moment she saw 0%, she didn't ask. What does this mean? She didn't say. There must be a mistake. She didn't demand a retest. She just whispered. Please let me explain. That was the moment I knew. She had known all along. I kept my voice level. Aiden isn't mine. She shook her head rapidly, spiraling into excuses. I never cheated on you. I swear I didn't. Not after we started dating. We'd broken up. When did you and Josh actually end things? She hesitated. And that hesitation was my answer. 6 weeks, she finally said. Not 8 months. So you slept together right before meeting me. Tears formed. Once. Just once. Then I met you 2 weeks later and everything changed. I didn't want him. I chose you. And when you found out you were pregnant? I didn't want to believe he wasn't yours, she said. I convinced myself he was. I thought if I built a life with you, then it wouldn't matter. My chest hurt, not aching, not burning, just a hollow pressure. And the pictures to Josh? I asked. He reached out. He said there was a chance Aiden was his. He threatened to contact you if I didn't show him proof. So you lied to him. Then you lied to me. Then you lied to my family when I asked for a test. She reached for my hands. I stepped back. You used me, Megan. You let me raise another man's child while you hoped reality wouldn't catch up. Her voice cracked into desperation. Don't do this. We can still be a family. Biology doesn't matter. You're the only dad Aiden knows. That's the problem, I said quietly. You let me love him under false pretenses. She cried harder. Begged. Pleaded. I didn't raise my voice. Pack a bag. You're leaving tonight. She threw every argument she could think of at me. Love, history, shared responsibility, how Aiden would miss me, how she needed help, how it was all a mistake. But nothing changes 0%. Her mom picked her up an hour later. Megan didn't tell her a single truth, not about Josh, not about the paternity test, not about the years of lies. Just said we were having a fight. When the door closed, the silence hit me harder than anything. Aiden's toys were still on the floor. His sippy cup still full on the counter. His little socks still on the rug. But the life I thought I had? Gone. And the hardest part was knowing I wasn't just losing Megan. I was losing him, too. For the first time in 2.5 years, the apartment was silent. No cartoons humming in the background. No Megan humming while she cooked. No little feet pattering across the laminate floors. Just quiet, the kind that doesn't feel peaceful, just empty. I sat on the couch staring at the dent in the cushion where Aiden always sat. His favorite stuffed giraffe was lying on its side like he just dropped it. Everything in the room still smelled faintly like baby shampoo and pasta sauce. And I couldn't shake the feeling that I was grieving someone who was still alive. The next few days were a blur. Megan tried calling. I blocked her. She tried texting. I ignored her. She showed up at my door crying twice. I didn't let her in. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't yelling. I was just done. My phone buzzed nonstop with my mom's number lighting up again and again, followed by Cody's smug little messages. But none of them knew the truth yet, not the real truth. Megan had already gotten to them first. To hear my mom tell it, I had abandoned my family, become paranoid like my father, blown up my relationship for no reason. She didn't say Megan lied. Didn't say Megan deleted messages. Didn't say Megan refused the test. Just painted me as the bad guy. So when my mom called Saturday morning and started lecturing me about being a real man, something inside me snapped. Mom, I said, keeping my voice level, Aiden isn't mine. Silence. Not understanding silence. Not shocked silence. Offended silence. What do you mean he's not yours? You raised him. Biologically, he isn't mine, I said. We got the test results. You made her take that test. My mom snapped. That is on you. She lied, I said. She deleted messages with her ex and sent him photos of Aiden. My mother didn't budge. She was scared of your temper. That doesn't make the child any less yours. I actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because the alternative was screaming. My temper? Mom, I've never raised my voice at her. Well, she said sharply, that doesn't change the fact that you're acting exactly like your father did before he left us. There it was. The nuclear option. The comparison she knew would cut deep. I inhaled slowly. You're wrong, I said. And you'll see how wrong when I send you the results. She hung up on me. The moment she did, something in me crystallized. I wasn't going to argue about this anymore. I was going to end this. A week later, Josh confirmed his own paternity test. Aiden was 100% his. And suddenly, Megan's world collapsed overnight. Josh wanted custody. Josh wanted back child support. Josh wanted everything she tried to avoid by lying for years. Meanwhile, I packed up Aiden's room, the hardest thing I've ever done, and moved to a one-bedroom closer to work. It was the only night I actually cried. Not for Megan. For the little boy I thought was mine and now had to walk away from. By July, Megan finally cracked under the pressure. She called me from a random number, voice shaking. Please, can we meet? It's about everything. It's about Aiden. I agreed to 1 hour. At the same coffee shop where we had our first date. Full circle, but not in the way she wanted. She arrived looking completely wrecked. Dark circles. Messy hair. Clothes that looked slept in. Hands trembling. She told me Josh was demanding 50-50 custody. That he wanted child support. That she couldn't afford anything. That her life was falling apart. And then she said it. Ryan, please, help me. I'll do anything. I'll even admit the truth to your family. Just don't leave me alone in this. I sat back, sipping my coffee. Calm. Detached. Done. You're asking me, I said, to help raise another man's child after you lied to me for years? Megan. I leaned forward. You lit your own life on fire. Then I stood up. Left her sitting there crying. Walked to my truck. and pulled out my phone because it was finally time. Time for everyone to see the truth. Time to end the lies. Time to stop being the villain in someone else's story. I attached the paternity results. I typed one message to the family group chat. This is why I asked for the test. This is what Megan was hiding. Aiden isn't mine. Then hit send. And sat back to watch the fallout begin. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree within seconds. First came Mom's messages, one after another, pouring in so fast the notifications stacked on top of each other. Then the family group chat went nuclear. At first, it was disbelief. Then excuses. Then full-blown panic. Mom. Ryan, this is not something to send in a group chat. And Lisa. Oh my God! Megan told us you were overreacting. Uncle Dave. Wait, she lied about the timeline? Cousin Emily. This is insane. Are you okay? And then Cody jumped in with exactly the energy I expected. Cody. Well, maybe you should have kept this private instead of humiliating everyone. I actually laughed. Because of all the ways someone could respond to the truth, Cody chose the one that made him feel superior. I didn't hold back. Cody, you spent months talking trash about me while knowing nothing. You were rooting for me to fail. Don't pretend you care now. He instantly DM'd me. I didn't know the truth. I replied. You didn't want to know the truth. Then I sent Mom the screenshots of every snide thing Cody had said about me, the receipts friends had forwarded, the comments he made in group chats, the little digs he threw every time he sensed weakness. Within minutes, Mom posted again in the group chat. I owe Ryan an apology. A big one. I believed the wrong person. I said things I deeply regret. And then the real kicker. For anyone who sided with Megan without hearing both sides, you should be ashamed. The group chat imploded. Some apologized. Some tried to soften their complicity. Some relatives wrote long paragraphs about family misunderstandings. And Cody? He sent the weakest apology I've ever seen. I may have said some things I shouldn't have. That was it. No accountability. No ownership. Just enough to technically count as an apology. I didn't respond. Let him sit with it. 3 days later, Mom knocked on my apartment door. I let her in, but I didn't offer her a seat. She stood there wringing her hands, eyes red. I thought I was protecting Aiden, she said. I thought Megan was being honest. You didn't ask for my side, I said. Not once. I know, she whispered. And comparing you to your father, that was cruel and wrong. I'm so sorry. I crossed my arms. You wanted me to be wrong. You were so sure you were right that you didn't care what it did to me. She nodded, tears gathering again. What can I do? She asked. Tell the whole truth publicly, I said. The same place you defended Megan. The same family chat where you called me paranoid. Her face paled. That's humiliating. So was what you did to me, I said. Your choice. She went quiet. Then nodded. And left. 20 minutes later, she posted a long message to the family chat admitting everything, the lies, the manipulation, the unfair judgment she put on me, and exactly how wrong she had been. It wasn't enough to erase what she did. But it was a start. Megan's fallout came next. Her family saw the test results. Saw the receipts. Saw the lies. Her financial support evaporated overnight. Then the coup de grace. Josh's lawyer used the evidence I provided to strengthen his custody case. He wanted 50/50ths. He wanted back child support. He wanted accountability. And he got it. Meanwhile, I finally slept through the night for the first time in months. I was done carrying the weight of other people's mistakes. Done being blamed for problems I didn't create. Done being the villain in a story that wasn't mine. I didn't lose a family. I lost people who were never on my side. Megan hit rock bottom faster than anyone expected. Josh didn't budge an inch in negotiations. His lawyer filed for full financial back child support immediately, tens of thousands of dollars she didn't have. Her mom stopped covering her bills. Her sister blocked her after the screenshots went around. Every support beam in her life collapsed. One afternoon, she left a voicemail, her voice cracked, barely audible. "Please, Ryan. I'm drowning." I deleted it. Not out of anger. Out of closure. I was finally done saving people who had no problem watching me burn. My own life steadied. The noise faded. I built routines again: gym, rides, long weekends fixing up my truck. Silence finally felt peaceful instead of heavy. But the real shift happened 2 weeks later, when I ran into Cody at the hardware store. He froze like he'd seen a ghost. I just nodded and walked past him. He scrambled to catch up. "Ryan, wait. Look, I know I wasn't supportive, but I didn't know everything." "You didn't want to know," I corrected without turning. "There's a difference." He stood there quietly, maybe the first time he'd ever been speechless. "Are we good?" he finally asked. "We're not anything," I said. "You made that choice already." And I meant it. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. 3 days later, Megan texted me again. "Aiden keeps asking for you." That one hit. Not because I wanted to go back, but because the lie she built around me was finally crumbling in her hands. I typed back. "That's not my responsibility anymore. That's yours and Josh's." She didn't respond. Not for hours. Then finally. I didn't know what I had until I lost it. I didn't answer. Not out of spite. Because there was no version of this where I owed her a conversation. She lied. She gambled. She lost. And I walked away with my peace intact. That was worth more than anything she could say. 2 months later, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Is this Ryan?" a man asked. "Yes." "This is Officer Calderon with Mesa PD. We're following up on a domestic incident reported at the residence of Megan Harper. You're listed as an emergency contact." For a moment, the world narrowed into a single point. What happened? My voice didn't sound like mine. "She's okay," he said quickly. "No injuries." A verbal dispute between her and the child's father escalated. "We need someone who can pick Aiden up temporarily while they sort this out." I closed my eyes. Of course. Of course this was coming. "Officer, I'm not his biological father," I said. "I don't have any legal standing." There was a pause on the line. "She gave us your name," he said carefully. "Said you're the only person Aiden feels safe with." I felt that one like a punch to the ribs. I didn't say anything. "Sir," the officer continued, "I'm not asking you to take custody. We just need someone to calm him down while we finish processing this call." I exhaled slowly. "Is he scared?" "Yes." Another long pause. Then I said the thing I knew I would carry for the rest of my life. "I'm on my way." I found them outside the apartment building. 2 officers. Josh pacing like a caged animal. Megan on the curb crying. And Aiden, sitting alone on the steps, knees pulled to his chest, cheeks streaked red. The moment he saw me, he bolted across the courtyard. "Daddy!" He hit me so hard I nearly fell backward. I lifted him, his arms locked around my neck like he thought I'd disappear if he loosened his grip. "I miss you," he whispered. I swallowed the lump in my throat. "I miss you too, buddy." One of the officers approached. "If you're willing to stay with him for an hour, that's all we need." I nodded. I didn't look at Megan. I didn't look at Josh. I just sat with Aiden on the curb and let him talk about dinosaurs and crackers and why the moon followed the car sometimes. It was the easiest hour of my life. When CPS arrived, they took over, placing him temporarily with a certified relative from Megan's side. As they walked him back toward the building, Aiden turned and looked at me with confused eyes. "Daddy? You're not coming?" That one hurt worse than the test result. I crouched down, forced a steady voice. I can't come with you today. But you're safe. That's what matters. He nodded slowly, even though he didn't understand. And then he was gone. I walked past Megan without stopping. She reached out. Ryan, thank you. I didn't look at her. You don't get to say my name right now. I got in my truck, shut the door, and let the silence settle around me. That was the moment I knew. I had done right by that kid. Even if he wasn't mine. Even if he never would be. Even if no one ever thanked me for it. And I didn't regret walking away afterward. Not for a single second. A week passed before I heard anything else. I didn't ask for updates, didn't chase, didn't pry. I'd stepped in when a child needed me. That was it. Clean line. Clear boundary. Then one Thursday night around 8 p.m., I got a text from Megan's sister, Emily. I don't know what Megan told you, but I think you deserve to know the truth about what's happening. I stared at the screen for a long minute, debating whether to open that door again. Curiosity won. I called her. Emily answered immediately, voice low and tired. I'm only telling you this because you were the only stable thing in that kid's life for 2 years. What happened? She exhaled hard. Josh bailed. What do you mean, bailed? I mean he packed a duffel bag, told Megan he wasn't ready to be a full-time parent, and took off to California for a fresh start. He hasn't contacted CPS, hasn't checked on Aiden, nothing. Of course. Of course the guy who disappeared once would do it again. It still pissed me off. And Megan? I asked. She's falling apart. Working doubles, arguing with my mom, barely holding it together. I'm not defending her, God knows she made choices, but she's drowning. I'm not getting involved, I said. That chapter is closed. I know, she replied. I'm not calling to rope you back in. I'm calling because she had this delusion that when everything hit the fan you'd save her. I almost laughed. She really thought that. She said, Ryan will come back? He always does the right thing. I leaned against my counter, staring at the quiet apartment. But here's the part that matters. Emily continued. When CPS asked Aiden who he wanted to see if he got scared. Her voice cracked slightly. He said your name? I closed my eyes. That one cut. He remembered you. She whispered. Not Josh. Not even Megan. You. My throat tightened. Emily, why are you telling me this? Because you're not the monster she made you out to be. And because someone should say this out loud, you were a good father. Even if biology said otherwise. I didn't know what to say. For months, I'd been painted as unstable, paranoid, cold, heartless. This was the first time anyone in her family acknowledged that I hadn't been the villain. I finally answered. Thank you? Truly. She sighed. For what it's worth. I wish Megan had married someone like you, instead of chasing chaos. Maybe her life would have been different. Maybe, I said. But that's not my path anymore. Yeah, she said softly. I figured. We hung up. I sat in the quiet for a long time. Not sad. Not angry. Just aware of the strange, complicated weight of being someone's father, and then not. I didn't regret asking for the truth. I didn't regret leaving. But I also didn't regret answering that phone call when Aiden needed a familiar face. Some things aren't about DNA. They're about who shows up when it counts. 2 months later, I was finally settling into something that felt like a new life. Work was steady. The gym was routine again. I was eating real breakfasts instead of gas station ones. And the woman I'd been seeing, Jenna, was starting to feel like the first genuinely healthy relationship I'd ever had. No drama. No lies. No ghosts in the phone. Just 2 people showing up for each other. But life has a way of testing you right when you think you've crossed the finish line. It was a Saturday morning. I was cleaning out the bed of my truck, sun high, air warm, music playing. My phone buzzed, a number I didn't recognize. I almost sent it to voicemail. Almost. Hello? A pause. A shaky breath. Ryan? It was Megan's mom. We hadn't spoken in almost a year. What's going on? I asked cautiously. It's Aiden. Those two words froze me in place. What happened? She stopped, swallowed hard. He's okay now. But he had a medical emergency last night. My heart lurched. What kind of emergency? A severe allergic reaction. His airway swelled. He had to be taken by ambulance. He's stable now, but when they tried to calm him down, her voice cracked. He asked for you? I closed my eyes. Of course he did. He kept saying, "Where's Daddy?" She whispered. And when Megan told him you weren't coming, he cried harder. I leaned against the side of the truck, trying to breathe past the knot in my chest. Why are you calling me? I asked, though I already knew. Because. She broke off, regrouped, continued softly. Because I owe you an apology. A real one. I didn't say anything. You were the father who showed up, she said. You were the one who fed him, changed him, carried him, played with him, loved him. And I helped Megan make you feel small. I believed her lies. I pushed you away. I called you selfish when you were the only one trying to protect yourself from her manipulation. Her voice trembled. I'm so sorry, Ryan. Silence stretched. Finally, she continued. You don't owe us anything. You don't owe him anything. But if you wanted to visit, even for just a few minutes, I think it would help him. The doctors say familiar comfort is good for recovery. And right now you're what he knows. I stared at the ground, processing the weight of that. I'm not his father, I said quietly. I know. She took a shaky breath. But for 2 years you were. More silence. Then she said it. He still loves you, Ryan. That one hit harder than any accusation ever had. I didn't give an answer. Not yet. I'll think about it, I finally said. Thank you, she whispered. Whatever you decide. We hung up. I stood there in the driveway long after the call ended, hands on my knees, breathing slowly. Jenna came outside, saw my face, and immediately touched my shoulder. Everything okay? I didn't sugarcoat it. No. But it will be. She nodded, squeezing my hand. You'll make the right decision, she said. You always do. The thing was, for the first time since this whole mess began, I believed her. I didn't go to the hospital that day. I drove past it. Twice. Once on purpose, once because I somehow ended up circling the block while trying to decide whether walking through those doors would heal something, or reopen everything I'd spent a year stitching shut. I parked across the street and just sat there, hands on the wheel, engine running. Inside that building was a little boy who used to fall asleep on my chest, who used to hand me plastic dinosaurs like they were priceless artifacts, who used to run toward me like gravity pulled him. And inside that same building was the woman who detonated my entire life with a single lie, and expected me to crawl back into the wreckage voluntarily. I felt like I was being torn clean in half. On one side was the man I'd been. The provider, the protector, the one who always showed up. On the other side was the man I'd become. The one who finally learned to choose himself. Which one was I now? My phone buzzed. A text from Jenna. Take your time. Whatever you choose, you're not choosing alone. Her trust steadied me in a way I didn't expect. I shut off the engine. Got out of the truck. Then I stood on the sidewalk staring at the hospital entrance, heart pounding, hands cold, every instinct screaming a different direction. I didn't go inside. Not yet. Instead, I called the pediatric unit. A nurse answered. Hi, I said quietly. I'm a former guardian figure for Aiden Harper. I heard he was admitted last night. I can't visit, but can someone just tell him I'm glad he's safe? The nurse paused. Then said warmly, We can absolutely do that. He's awake now. He's been asking for someone named Ryan. My throat tightened. Please tell him. I had to stop, swallow, try again. Please tell him I'm proud of him. And that he's brave. We will. Thank you. I hung up. And for the first time in months, maybe a full year, I felt something quiet settle in my chest. Not guilt. Not grief. Closure. Not the dramatic kind. Not the movie-ending kind. The kind that comes from finally realizing you don't have to finish every chapter you didn't start. That night, I didn't get a call from Megan. Or her mother. Or CPS. But I did get a text at 9:12 p.m. Megan. He smiled when the nurse told him your message. Followed by, thank you? I didn't reply. Not out of spite. Just because there was nothing left to say. I sat on my balcony afterward, cool air brushing past, city lights flickering like a low heartbeat. Jenna leaned into my side. So, she asked gently, how do you feel? I thought about it. Really thought. Like I finally put something down I was never meant to carry. And she nodded, like she already knew that was coming. Because the truth was simple. I wasn't going back. Not to the lie. Not to the wreckage. Not to the role that was ripped out of my hands the moment the test results came in. But I wasn't running anymore either. I'd done what mattered. I'd said what needed saying. I'd let go without abandoning myself. For the first time since everything blew apart. I felt whole. Josh looked nothing like the smug ghost of Megan's stories. He looked tired. Thin. Eyes sunken like sleep had stopped visiting. He stood when I entered the lobby, hands stuffed in his pockets like he was trying to hold himself together. Ryan, he said quietly. I didn't sit. Didn't offer a handshake. What do you want? He exhaled slowly, shoulders dipping. I came to apologize. I almost laughed. Almost. For what? The one-night encore that started a nuclear chain reaction, or the part where you bailed the second fatherhood wasn't convenient. He took it, didn't flinch. I deserve that, he said. All of it. Then he looked me in the eyes, and for the first time since this nightmare started, I saw sincerity instead of chaos. I screwed up, he said. More than once. And I'm not here pretending I'm the victim. I'm here because I didn't understand what it meant to show up until I watched someone else do it better than me. I didn't move or respond. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he continued. And I'm sure as hell not asking you to step back into Aiden's life. You set boundaries. I respect that. But I needed to say this out loud. You were a better dad to him than I was. And you didn't owe him anything. Silence stretched. He asks about you sometimes. Josh added softly. Not a lot. Not in a where is he way. But in little ways. Like he'll say, Ryan taught me this, or Ryan used to do that. I thought you should know you didn't just disappear for him. You left good things behind. That one hit deeper than I expected. I swallowed. Is he okay? I finally asked. Josh nodded. Yeah. Doing better. Therapy's helping. CPS closed the file. We're working out a schedule with Megan's family until she stabilizes. Good. He should have been doing that from the start. Then why are you here? I asked again. He met my eyes. To tell you I'm stepping up now. For real. No disappearing. No excuses. I'm not trying to replace you. I know I can't. But I'm going to be the father he deserves. For the first time, I believed him. I nodded once. Good. He deserves that. Josh's shoulders eased, like he'd been waiting for those 4 words. He turned to leave, then paused. Ryan, for what it's worth. You didn't lose. You just walked away from something that couldn't give you what you gave it. And then he left. I stood there alone in the lobby, letting the truth of that settle. I didn't lose. I didn't fail. I didn't abandon anything. I survived something most men never recover from, and I came out the other side with boundaries, clarity, and a life that finally felt like mine. When I got home that night, Jenna wrapped her arms around my waist without asking a single question. She didn't need to. She could feel the shift. You okay? She whispered. Yeah, I said. Actually, I am. And for the first time since the test results shattered my world, the words were true.